G'day guys, how's it going? So in this video, we're going to look at conditional operators. Now, what's a conditional operator? Well, before I get to that, I need to explain something called an expression. So in Rust, we have what's called expressions, right? And an expression is essentially something that you do that returns an individual value. Now, up until this stage, we've only really looked at numbers and simple arithmetic operators. But basically, if we look at, say, the number one, right, on its own, that's a singular value. That's deemed an expression because it returns that number one, right? But I could say 1 plus 2. That would return a singular value of 3, right? So that is deemed also an expression. What's also an expression is maybe the value true because it returns the value true, or it could be false, or it could be 21 minus 10, or 21 divided by 7. You get my point, right? As long as it returns a singular value, that's deemed an expression. So when we come and talk about comparison operators, we're actually comparing two expressions, right? A left-hand side and a right-hand side. So to give you an example, let's just keep an expression to just a number like 3, right? If I was to do something like this, let is equal 3, right? Some operator and then 3, right? So on the left of the operator is an expression. On the right-hand side is also an expression, right? So the comparison operator is the thing that's in the middle. Similar to when we were looking at arithmetic operations where we had a number on the left-hand side and a number on the right-hand side. Now, we have a whole list of comparison operators, and the first one of interest is probably the equals operator. And that's to compare that the left-hand side is equal to what's on the right-hand side. So if I change this word op with a double equals, what I'm doing here is I'm saying, does 3 equal 3? And that's going to return a Boolean result, right? And that's the other thing about comparison operators. They always return a Boolean result, okay? So if I'm now going to go through the process of, say, printing this out. So let's go print ln, and we'll go 3 double equals 3. And we can set that to is equal, like so. And save and run. Well, when we compile it, we can see that 3 double equal 3 is in fact true. And that's because 3 is equal to 3, right? Cool. So let's try a few more just to get a better understanding. So let's go let is equal 2. And let's set this one to, let's say 1 plus 2 on the left-hand side of the double equals. And on the other side, we're going to say 4 minus 1, right? So this is an expression on the left-hand side. This is an expression on the right-hand side. Now, when we evaluate these, 1 plus 2 is 3. And then we evaluate the right, 4 minus 1 is 3. And then we compare using the equal operator. We get the same as above, 3 double equal 3, right? So this should give us exactly the same result of true. So let's just quickly test that out. So I'm just going to grab the equation here, or sorry, the comparison here, and run it. And now you'll see it also gives us true, right? So we don't just have to use numbers, like I mentioned, with expressions that could be Booleans. So I'm just going to copy in a few more, and we'll go through them individually. So here's a few more results, and I'm just going to grab the print statements as well, and we'll go through them. So the third one we have is true equal to false. Well, we know that's not true, right? Because true is not false. False is not true. So this is going to return false overall because these two things are not equal. However, the next one, true is equal to true. So that's going to return true. We also compare characters, right? We can say things like is A equal to B? Well, no, because they're two different letters, right? But if we go B is equal to B, then yes, that is equal. We could even compare lists, right? Where if the list contained the same items in the same position, then they're deemed equal. But if we have items in different numbers in different positions, then they won't be equal, right? So let's run this and see what the results are. And it should be pretty much what I suspect, which is we're still got our 3 double equals 3 is true. 1 plus 2 double equals 4 minus 1, that's true. True double equals false is obviously false. 2 double equals true is true. A double equals B is false. B double equals B is true. And then the list that's the same, that's true, but the list is different is false. Cool. So that is what we call the equals comparison operator. There's obviously more than that, right? There's the opposite, which is not equals. So you take everything that we have here and we do the opposite, right? So that'll look a little bit like this. So I'm just going to take all this out and replace it with not equals. Now we represent not equals in Rust with a little exclamation mark and then an equal sign. So equals is double equals, not equals is exclamation mark and an equal sign. Cool. Now you just think the opposite, right? So if 3 double equals 3 was true, then 3 not equal to 3 is obviously going to be false, right? And so on and so forth. So let's just run this, and we should get the opposite results, right? So 3 not equal to 3 is false. That's correct. 1 plus 2 is not equal to 4 minus 1. Well, we know they both equal 3, so that's false. True is not equal to false. That's now true because true and false are both different. True not equal to true is false because they're both the same. A not equal to B is true because they're not the same. And B not equal to B is false because they are the same. And you get the picture, right? So that is the not equals operator. Just remember, it's an exclamation mark and an equal sign. Cool. Next one, greater than, right? So basically, numerically for the most part, though not always used numerically, is the greater than symbol. And that's basically a right angle brace, right? So basically, in this first one, I'm saying is 4 greater than 3? That should be true, right? Is 3 greater than 4? That should be false. Is 4 greater than 4? Well, no, it's the same. So that will be false. Is 2 plus 3 greater than 1 plus 3? Well, again, 2 plus 3 is 5. 1 plus 3 is 4. So 5 is greater than 4. So that's going to give us true. Is B greater than A? Well, in terms of Unicode characters, it is, right? And that's the important distinction here. And a B has a higher value Unicode-wise than A. On the flip side, B greater than B can't be because they're equal. B greater than C can't be because C is considered greater, right? Then the next one, the lists are the same, so greater than will return false. And then ultimately, the last one will also be false because the numbers stored in here are actually higher than the numbers stored in here. So just keep that in mind. It's comparing each individual spot. Cool. So let's just run this and confirm all that. So 4 greater than 3 is true. That's correct. 3 greater than 4, that's false. That's correct. 4 greater than 4, false, correct. 2 plus 3 is greater than 1 plus 3, that's true. B is greater than A, that's true. B is not greater than B, so that's false. B is not greater than C, so that's false. And then those two are equal, so that's false. And 1, 2, 3 is not greater than 3, 4, 5, so that's false. Cool. Now, the opposite of that is obviously less than. So let's take a look at that very quickly. So I'm just going to take out the greater than, and we put in the same thing, but in the opposite direction. So for less than, it's a left angle brace. But other than that, everything's the same. It's just going to be flipped, right? So everything that was greater than before, well, for the most part, will be flipped, except for the equality ones, right? So let's just run that and check it. So 4 less than 3, that's false. 3 is less than 4, so that's true. 4 is less than 4, well, that's false because they're equal. 2 plus 3 is less than 1. 1 plus 3, that's false because the right-hand side's less than the left-hand side, right? B less than A is false because A is less than B. B less than B is false because they're the same. And B is less than C, so therefore it's true. Then we've got 1, 2, 3 is less than 1, 2, 3. That's false because they're the same. And then 1, 2, 3 is less than 3, 4, 5. So that gives us true. Cool? So it's a little redundant and repetitive here, but I have to go through each one. So now we've got the next operator, which you might use, which is basically greater than or equal to, right? So now we're saying if the value is greater or they happen to be the same on each side, then it should be true. Otherwise, it should be false, right? So I'm not going to waste any time. I'm just going to run this and we can take a look at the comparison. So 4 is greater than or equal to 3. That's true, right? 3 is greater than or equal to 4 is false because 3 is less than 4. Now, for the next one, it actually now returns true because we're also checking for equality, right? 4 is equal to 4, so therefore that's allowed. Next one, 5 or 2 plus 3 is 5, 1 plus 3 is 4, so it is greater, right? So that gets true. In the case of this one, B is greater than A, so that's true. B is equal to B, so that's also true because now we're doing the equality check. And then B is not greater or equal to C, so therefore that's false. For the next one, 1, 2, 3 is equal to 1, 2, 3, so now we get true. And then the last one is 1, 2, 3 is not greater than 3, 4, 5, so we get a false. Cool. And now, again, you're probably guessing what comes next, and that is less than or equal to, right? So quickly just paste this in, and we'll go through it, and everything's pretty much the same. It's just going to be the flip when it comes to comparing greater than or less than. So this one, 4 is less than or equal to 3 is now false. 3 is less than 4 is true. 4 is less than or equal to 4, that's true. 5 is less than or equal to 1 plus, than 4, sorry, that's false. B is less than or equal to A, that's false. B is less than or equal to B, that's true. And now B is less than or equal to C, so that's now true. Then we've got 1, 2, 3 is equal to 1, 2, 3, so it returns true. And then for this one, 1, 2, 3 is less than 3, 4, 5, so that returns true. Cool. So that is all the comparison operators that we have in Rust. And I'm going to end the video there. So thank you for watching, and I'll see you all next time.